20 millimeters. This is the length of the average distal phalanx, the fingertip. In climbing, the single biggest physical determining factor of how hard you can climb is finger strength. And being able to hang one-armed on 20 millimeters seems like a rite of passage into higher grades. And for the first time in my life, I managed to do it. In this video, I want to share my whole journey from constantly complaining about finger pain and weakness to being able to hold my whole body weight on just my fingertips. Before we get exactly into how I trained to get this, I want to give a little disclaimer. Ever since I got to Japan and started working at B-Pump 3 years ago, the first big difference I noticed between myself and other people climbing the grades I wanted to climb was how much better they moved on the wall. I was probably more than physically ready for most of the climbs I wanted to do back then. And after over 2 years of crazy dedication, I feel that the gap between my skills and my strength has shrunk considerably. Thanks to that, I can finally aim to do harder things. But whenever I find a new project or think about what the next level of climbing looks like for me, I always think about what am I lacking? A simple rule I keep in my head is you're weak if, even when setting perfectly up for the position, you can't hold it. But if it's a technique or positioning problem, you can hold it if you set up in the perfect position but can't link it from the previous move or to the next one. This past year, I've been hitting that you are too weak situation quite a bit, and that led to the creation of this whole training series. We can break down this whole journey into 3 stages. Stage 1 was all about getting a solid base in finger strength. I actually already have 3 videos showing my progress from beginning to pretty strong. Those videos have deeper explanations of what I was thinking and what I did at the time. I'll link them in the description, but I'll give a quick overview of my progress so far. And just in case you've forgotten about me, because making a new video took longer than a Hunter x Hunter chapter coming out, my name is Marcos, with an S, and I came all the way from Argentina to Japan to work at my dream gym, B-Pump Tokyo. And the Crispy Crimps channel is all about sharing my climbing journey here in Japan. Subscribe so you get notified for the next video. In the first video, I was mainly focusing on max hangs. I did it for 30 days and got some pretty nice improvements. But I think overall, the biggest thing was showing how weak I actually was at the start and how important newbie gains are. By the end of that first video, I was feeling a little bit more confident, and pain in my fingers was subsiding a little bit, but it was coming back and going away depending on the day. After that, I took a little bit of a short break. For the next finger training experiment, I tried Emil's new training protocol. I actually even modified that a little bit to suit me a little bit better and some things I thought were better overall, and I did that for 30 days. The craziest thing is that I almost got even better gains at higher weights than before, meaning there was something to this new version of the routine. At this point, I couldn't believe it. I was almost pulling like 75% of my whole body weight, which is pretty crazy for me. I even thought about aiming for the one-arm hang. In this part, I was still kind of shaky on the idea. I didn't really know if I was gonna make it or if the gains would just stop in its tracks. That's why I decided to go for 100 days, keeping this routine because it was going really well. And I just kept doing that for 100 days and got some pretty cool new max pulls, which was around 85% of my weight. And that was getting very close to actually going for the full 100%. This was the first time I actually thought I have a chance of getting something like this. Now, you might have noticed that up until now, I've exclusively been using a pickup board, specifically the Frictitious Porta board. And you might be wondering, is Frictitious the sponsor of this video? Yeah, we love them, but more on that later. Someone else might be wondering, why use that instead of a normal hangboard? Now, my main reason for that is that pulling on one arm, especially at these low weights, are really hard to do on a hangboard and keep that weight and the load standardized throughout every single training session. Maybe you can fix that with a pulley system, but I don't have access to that in my gym. And whenever doing strength training, one of the most important things is to be able to track progress and see if you're moving forwards, backwards, or whatever is going on, which makes a pickup board the best option, especially at these low weights. Another big reason is that ever since I did my modified version of Emil's protocol, my fingers have felt really nice. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but just healthy. And the numbers in that 30-day experiment versus the first set of experiments when I only did max hangs show that even if I had higher weights, I was still getting more percentage improvements. So that tells me that the 10-minute daily thing is actually giving me some improvement. That's why I always keep my setup for my 10-minute daily routine, and it's just easier to have a pickup board. I do want to say something I've changed just a little bit in the second half of last year, and that is that I'm using a new product by Fictitious, which is called the Unlevel Edge 2.0. And I use that for my daily routine and sometimes, not all the time, for my max hangs. At this point, I had already said it quite a few times that I use the Unlevel Edge. If you haven't tried it, I don't know what you're doing, it's just too good. Once you actually feel the edge, it just feels so nice. Basically, the upside is that fingers have different lengths, and because of that, your middle finger and your ring finger usually get most of the load. In the beginning, that might mean that your middle finger and ring finger get much stronger, which you would think is a good thing, but that just leads to your index and your pinky getting underdeveloped, and you actually end up injuring the guys you use the most. Are they guys? Maybe they're girls, who knows? And this was actually a problem that plagued me for many years, but luckily I've fixed it ever since I used the Unlevel Edge. So if you're interested in trying it out yourself, you know what to do. There's gonna be a code in the description with 10% off. Now with that, pulling around 85%, 90% of my full body weight, plus using the Unlevel Edge to get better index and pinky activation, I moved to stage 2. And this is where we start actually practicing the skill of one arm hanging. And yes, it's a skill. I would recommend to at least have 90% of your body weight pull. You can do it with less, you can do it with more, but I would say as a minimum, it just makes it easier, because if you don't have the finger strength, you're still gonna have to train that up until you can actually do it. If you get it to this point, I think there's gonna be 2 paths. One is gonna be the pulley system, which is probably the most, the smoothest way to get through it. You just add some assistance. Let's say you're 10 kilos away from making it. You add 10 kilos, and then the next time you might add 9 instead of 10, and slowly but surely you go to 0, and boom, you got it. But a lot of people, including myself, don't have access to a pulley system. In that case, we have to go to option number 2. Now, option number 2 is just using different combinations of one hand on 20 mil and the other hand on another hold. To be honest, in the beginning, I actually started even on the 35 mil, I think it is, and that even felt hard for me. But don't worry about that if the same thing happens to you. If you've done everything same as me up until now, we've been pulling on the pickup block, right? So we're still not used to the overhead and engaging everything and the balance that conveys, which is why we're practicing the skill right now. Now, because we actually have the strength 90%, even if you're doing the bigger edges and they feel not great in the beginning, you're gonna get used to it very fast because it's more of the skill part than the actual strength part. I would say 2 things are really important to keep in mind. The first thing is to actually focus that your main hand is doing most of the work. I know it sounds stupid, but I even caught myself before doing the tries, I have to tell myself, hey, the goal is, let's say left hand is working hard now. Otherwise, you just focus on getting the hang and you end up loading the other hand, which isn't the important one. And that's just cheating yourself out of learning and improving and getting stronger. And then the second part would be look at your hang board and make maybe 10 combinations of 20 mil and then 35 with 4 fingers and then 20 mil in the pocket, and look at an order that's a little bit harder each time that you can do. And that makes it so that you feel progress. Now, at this point, I've been doing this for quite a bit, this transition phase, stage 2, where I was changing that strength I had made from the pickup block into real one arm strength on the board, and something happened. I was starting to notice some improvement, But as soon as good things come, disaster struck. And it's not what you think. While climbing, I tore my meniscus. Now the OG subscribers might be thinking, oh no, here we go again. Literally at this same time the previous year, I had broken my toe and kind of torn under my foot, all the fascia, I don't know. It was kind of like not very nice injury, but at least it gave me more recovery for my training. During this time, of course, I just kept on doing the 10-minute hang. That's pretty easy to do. It doesn't really take much out of you and it always gives me something back. And whenever my knee would actually allow it because it didn't hurt, I would try to go max hangs, but that would depend on how I felt that day. As my knee got a little bit better, the swelling went down, I started to be able to bend it. The first thing was campusing. As long as it wasn't really crazy and I wasn't really landing on my feet, I would be okay. And when I started campusing, something pretty funny happened, which is I was making a lot of really crimpy campuses. And that's not really me, which is a good thing, I think. And before I realized it, I was actually going for hard stuff and my knee was getting better and I was falling in weird angles and it was fun, again, which is great. Whenever you stop climbing, whenever you get injured, it really sucks and it's happened too much to me lately. But luckily, it's never been the fingers in the last year, which is great. And even though I said the goal was like one-armed on 20 millimeters, the real goal is just being able to climb more stuff. So it feels really nice to get back into climbing and see those gains that I made actually transfer onto something and not just pulling on the board. So yeah, that was nice. And as time went by, I actually felt I was getting kind of strong. Maybe it's stage 3 right now. Just go for it, stage. Let's imagine you only did block pulls, and now you can pull like 200% on just one hand. So you're crazy strong. This wouldn't necessarily mean that you could do the one-arm hang on the board. It's not that your fingers would be the limit, and it's not that you can't get it probably really fast. It's just that there's a little thing called shoulder stability that is making you, well, better said, the lack of shoulder stability that is making you twist off the hold. But this is actually quite easy to fix. We can train it, we can practice it. So I'm gonna give you 3 steps, which is what I did. 1, grab any hold with an open grip. 2, without using your wrist or your arm muscles, try to stop your spin. Focus on using the small muscles inside around your shoulder. Hold for 5 to 10 seconds. After you get used to this, you can actually do one level up, which is picking a side, so maybe left, you turn to the left on purpose, and then you stop when you're turned to the left, and then you go back to the middle, and then you turn to the right, and you do the same, and you repeat for sets, and you do the other arm. Now, I think I'm ready. Stage 3, go for it. Since I didn't have a pulley system, stage 2 and 3 was kind of blurry, but as I said, I just felt kind of strong one day and started going for it. I would try to warm up properly, maybe 20, 30 minutes, give myself a break, always at the beginning of the session, very fresh when you have your max power and everything, just give it a few tries, and I would always follow the golden rule. If your fingers open up, stop. In the beginning, I was mostly just jumping into it and barely lasting a second, if anything. Slowly but surely, I started to actually be able to hang on it, even though sometimes the increments over each session were less than a second for me, but it felt like huge gains, and this made me motivated to continue. I was naturally tending to just bend my arm because it felt like so much weight that if I kept my arm straight, I don't know, the force didn't go through. But the problem about the bend arm is that when I bend, I start to twist my right shoulder in, for example, if I'm doing left arm, and that would just not let me activate like the muscles for the shoulder stability. So I would just kind of spin off. But one day it hit me. Usually I would try to hang when I was really fresh, so this would be relatively at the start of my session. But one day I was deep into projecting this brown tape that had a really fingery first move. And whenever I feel I'm stuck on a move or I know I can do it, but I don't feel I'm quite there yet physically like activated, I go back to the hangboard, for example, and like recruit my fingers. And when I was doing that, suddenly this happened. Now it's not beautiful, I know that, it's ugly, but I did it. Now I'm really happy that I finally got it, but I'm not satisfied, you know? That bend thing, I can't make a video out of that. I can't put that online. People are gonna be like, dude, comment section is gonna go wild. So step kind of 1, I finally got it. Goal number 1. Goal number 2, we gotta go for the straight arm. We gotta make it look clean, nice, stylish. So over the following about maybe 2 months, I just practicing going straight arm. And it almost felt like going back to the beginning because it feels so freaking weird to do it on a straight arm. It feels like your strength, I don't know, it just doesn't go through, you know, in the beginning. It didn't go through. But in the meantime, I finally sent that round tape I was doing and another one, and they were really fingery, so I was really seeing like the gains. I was feeling comfortable with the holds. I felt that if it had a little bit of an edge, like I could bite my fingers, which is pretty motivating, to be honest. And one day before a really big competition, we work like crazy. You gotta take all the holds off. So we took down like a ton of holds. We were moving boxes, like it was kind of exhausting. And we had like a 10-minute break after like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours of doing that. And I don't know, in those 10-minute break, I was crazy tired, but my forearms, they felt like on fire. I don't know, in a good sense. And I just took out my camera just in case something happened. I was like, it's just gonna end up being B-roll. And I gave it a try, and this happened. So I finally got it. If anyone has complained about my form, please tell me. And if you guys have a next challenge for me, also tell me. I really think that this whole journey, like, yeah, sure, I got the goal, that's great, I'm super happy. But more than that, I'm just happy overall that I never got injured in my fingers. I was able to climb cool climbs, like interesting climbs that needed finger strength, so it opened up more climbs. And something which didn't come out in this video, but will come out on the next, I am closer than ever to a very cool outdoor project. So subscribe if you wanna see more of that. And I wanna thank Fictitious, as usual, for making some incredible things I use on the daily, and for being just really nice people overall. Like, you guys don't get to see the emails, but they've been through a lot with me on the length that this video has taken to come out, and you can really tell they care. Thank you, and see you next time.